Town of Pierson regular meeting for Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. will now come to order. Yvonne, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mayor Samuel Bennett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Here.
Councilwoman Sergio Cardenas.
Here.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. Here. Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
Here.
Town Planner Mark Pratt.
Here.
Town Attorney Christian Law.
Here.
And Ryan and I are present. And the County Sheriff's present.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'd like to welcome everyone. Good to see everybody here tonight and a good crowd. At this time, we have the pastor of the Church of God of Prophecy here this evening, Pastor Larry Miller, and he is here tonight to give the invocation for tonight's meeting. Welcome, Larry.
Could be back like a long time, but hey, who's counting when you get above 50? Hey, you don't count days, you count seconds. Well, that was a year, by the way. But anyway, they go by so fast. But y'all know my heart. Many times, I love Pierson. I do love Pierson. Have been gone for 19 and a half years, but 1982, I got to come back home. 8 years. Long story, but I've been back and hopefully never have to leave again until I go that way. And I'm planning to go that way, by the way. You have to figure that out. "10 years that I've been back in Pierson, back home. And my heart is for this area. I call it the Pierson community. To be the most blessed bunch of people in the world. So if you're anywhere near close to Pierson, you're under my prayers every day. I want to see God bless this town like most of you have never dreamed possible. And let me tell you something, I've seen miracles. I've been in pastoral ministry for 50 years. I've seen some miracles that it scared, some of them scared you off. I actually told you about because you think that's unreal. But I've seen God do some things in communities where I pastor that people just said, well, I'll just tell you like they said, only you, preacher, only you. But it's not only me. Because my favorite book says, whosoever will let him come. And that's why I'm coming here tonight. Because who knows? These blessings might start right here. They could start right here in the town hall meeting. And if I wasn't here tonight and it started tonight, I'd miss it. Huh? And then y'all say, no, you should have been here. And I do come every chance I get, but I have a very busy schedule because I'm only one person. And we're slowly but surely getting some of the other ministers involved. I want to see all of them involved in our community. And because I believe that if we can get together, and then we can get together, and we can get together, that we can see things happen in our community that other communities will be jealous of. And I want it to be, and then you can look at it and say, hey, you do what we do, and you could have the same thing. So I want to pray for this meeting, and I want to pray for my community. Father in heaven, Peter said, I would that you prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. That's what we want. I believe most of the people here tonight, maybe even all of the people here, they want to see your hand in everything that's done, because everything that your hand is in goes right, it works right, and it does what it's supposed to be, and people are happy. The other direction, the promises. Your way is the perfect way. And I don't know what's on the agenda tonight. But Lord, I know that whatever it is, they may have some stuff that people here would think, well, there's no way it's impossible. But in my favorite book says, with God, all things are possible. So Lord, I pray your blessings upon this meeting tonight. I pray for the peace that I feel here to be multiplied like never before. Lord, because I've been in some council meetings where it was like people were almost fighting each other. It was so bad. But I love the peace in our community, Lord. And I love the peace in our community leaders' meetings. So we ask you to make it continue, Lord, not just let it. Make it continue and multiply in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
You would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is our first item for consideration. It's the minutes for our regular meeting for October the 8th, 2024. At this time, are there any additions or deletions? If being none, the mayor would entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve minutes from October 8, 2024.
And we have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson for approval of the minutes of October the 8th, 2024. Is there a second? Seconded by Randy Pierson. Ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So carried. Okay, under new business, 5A, Pierson Community Association Christmas Festival and Discussion and Action. Robin Green.
Hey, y'all.
Good evening.
So, that time of year again, had a call from the North Pole, and I wanted to know if he was making a visit. Told him yes, we wanted him and Mrs. Claus back. So, we checked all the schedules, and he's available December 6th. So, Pierson Community Association, in partnership with the town of Pierson, we would like to do our festival again in the courtyard with the lights and the trees, and of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus. That'll run from 6 to 9. Santa will be here from 6 to 8. We will, of course, do decoration and cleanup as we've done every year. Then we'd like the town to donate the spot for us so that we can do that. Make sure the bathrooms and stuff are open. And of course, every year you guys have done the gifts for the kids. We'd like to ask that the town continue to do that for us. I know that we do have the sheriff's substations up here, so in the past, when we've had the fence up, my nephew would actually stay out here at night just to kind of keep an eye on things so we wouldn't have to worry about vandals. He is willing to do that again, but I was hoping that maybe we could ask the sheriff if they could swing through and just make sure everything's taken care of and there's not anybody up here causing any mischief. So, December 6th, we'd like to have everybody come out and have a little Christmas celebration again.
You did say the 6th, correct?
Yep, December 6th. From 6 to 9.
I really like that date because that's the first Saturday in December. And I found that over the years when we would do this Christmas celebration, that if you go do it too late in the month, a lot of the kids have already gone to see Santa. So I think that's a good date, and I would hope that we would support that date. And I think it's a wonderful time of the year to celebrate the birth of Christ. And so I'm all for it.
Yes, most definitely. I think last year was the first year, correct?
Last year was the second year.
Second year.
So this was
Second year.
the
Yep.
We did do the letters to Santa last year again. We're going to year in each child who does write a letter, we will get a handwritten response from Santa's also.
It's a good annual get-together for the town and the kids. I know the kids enjoy it, so I definitely give the Pierson Community Association my blessings, and I think the whole council does, and wish us all the best. As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
We're all for it. Just one clarification though. I think this is, I don't know, maybe the ninth. It's been several years that we've been doing this, and it's actually and I'm glad to have the Pierson Community Association be a part of it, but it's Pierson Community Association, of course, / the town of Pierson, because we've been doing this for, I want to say maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 years. So, and it's grown, and y'all have added a lot of good things. So, Marcy, do you have any idea how many years?
A long time.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Probably you're right, about 9 years.
About 9 years.
It's coming around way too soon now, too fast.
I agree.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Too fast.
The other thing we do want to ask is if we still have a large Santa, we would like to have a large Santa out there again as our centerpiece in the courtyard.
Okay. You have our
I think that'd be a
blessings.
problem, yes. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comment? No? Okay, next item, thank you. Next item for consideration, the airport updates by Mr. Olin Cannon. Welcome, Olin.
Got a couple of things on with the airport I want to go over. I don't know if we can do it all in one motion or however that works. I had an airport inspection at the end of last month, and the only thing that was brought up was the mowing of the ditches on the north and the south end of the runway. I got a quote from Marlon Bates to do. I think he did the last time we had to do a cleanup for $3,000. I just wanted to share this with the town. It doesn't, when I talked to the FDOT, it wasn't anything that had to be done right this second, but it needed to be done at some point. So I just needed to let him know what, if we have a date for that or whatever the plan is.
Are those ditches not full of water at this juncture? I mean, they
That's,
were.
that's why it's not an issue, because we've had hurricanes, but they don't. He doesn't want the grass above the crown of the runway. Anyway, so I have the quote from Marlon. It's not a 911. It can be done. We can put it on the schedule. I can call him back and just tell him. I can tell him anything. So.
Well, I had talked with Marlon. I knew about your conversation. He contacted me, gave me the same quote, and I think with the amount of that quote, I'd like to go out and get maybe another quote. And so we can get another, maybe one quote or a couple quotes. We've got some other folks that have been working here in the town that have done a really good job, and so we can bring that back with some other quotes.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so that will just be tabled then, or?
Well, it's you
got
just
several
said
things to
airport
go over.
update, so we can just bring that back as an agenda item, and then we can put the two different, or how many ever quotes we have, and then
Okay,
the board can take action on it at that time.
Okay. So the next thing I want to go over is I'm going to resign as the airport manager. I accept this position because I wanted to assist the town and keep the airport going, but I don't feel like there's enough support for the airport for me to be successful. So therefore, I just want to submit my resignation on or before January 1st of 2025, or unless you hire someone new or someone takes that over, then I can show them all what needs to happen. There's about a 3 or 4 month process to get everything changed over from contact with the FAA. So I can facilitate in that. You don't want to do it to like a temporary and then do it again. So we just need to think about that.
Is that the only thing that has to be changed is the FAA contact?
It's think it was a little bit more than that, but yes, there's several different places you have to change it. So you have to do you have to change it with the airport manager, and then you have to register as a director of an airport so that you can do NOTAMs and make decisions for the airport. So there's several steps, but it's not that big a deal. It just doesn't happen quickly. So you submit the request, and it takes a month or 2 months, or they'll get back with you, and so it's a slow process. And then the last thing is I installed my hangar on hangar number 4 area, and I'm gonna be taking that hangar down, and I should have that hangar removed on or before November 30th, 2024. So those are and I still want to do the continuation of the rental of hangar number 1.
Well, I hear you resigning. I know it's a thankless job that you have, for sure, but I'd like to state publicly that I appreciate you willing to do that for us for the time you did, and I wish I could change your mind about resigning, but that's your choice. We're going to miss you being in charge of that, I can promise you.
I appreciate the kind words.
Olin, as mayor, I'd like to echo the vice mayor. In fact, for those of you that don't know, Olin has put a lot of his personal time, which time is money, and also he's made expenditures over at the airport that have been a benefit to the airport, not only the airport, but our municipal water plant. He hauled in at his expense a lot of concrete, built a road. He's always he's just has done a lot. That's just one thing. And as mayor, Olin, I just want to echo what our vice mayor stated, that I am very sincerely appreciate all that you did over at the airport. I would ask if it would would you maybe give this some more thought or consideration? Think about it, and I would love to work with you to improve on what we have, and if I am not here after the election, I'm sure that our new mayor would be to want to work with you. So I would hope that you would maybe reconsider in your wanting to turn in your resignation, because you have been a real blessing to the community. Is that something you might consider?
We'd have to have some sort of a meeting about the expectations of what's actually happening at the airport, and what can be done, and what I can do and what I can't do. But I would be open to it, but as it stands right now, I don't see how I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I would like to state that if at all possible, that the council could meet with you if you would reconsider, but that's totally up to you. If it's something that you feel that's where you're at this time, I understand, but I do wish you would reconsider.
And I'll reach out if we can make something happen.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, next item for consideration is 5C. This is ordinance 2024-17. And I think I'm going to turn the floor over to our town planner, Mark Perrett of Zeb Cohen, and maybe he probably would like to speak and share with everyone what in regards to ordinance number 2024-17.
You should have in your packet a staff report, and that staff report has 3 maps attached to it that are probably the best way to understand. This is actually a very small parcel of land. It's 0.4 acres, and it serves as access to a piece of property that's already in the town of Pierson and has been in the town of Pierson for some time. So the maps I want to call your attention to are, first one looks like this is just location. The next map shows that property in relation to the boundaries of the town of Pierson, which are all shown in purple. And then the last map shows what the town boundaries would be like post annexation. So you can see that this is part of a larger parcel that's flag shaped. The parcel the portion of the property that has been in the town for some time is 5 acres. It's zoned A1, and without the portion that they're annexing in, it's landlocked. So at some point, this portion of the flag pole that connects it to what is an extension of Western Avenue was added to this property, but not annexed in. As part of the building process, you go to the county and you get an address, you go through 911. 911 has basically held up the assignment of this address, this property, because of the multiple jurisdictions. There are probably other ways around this other than annexing it in, but this is actually the simplest way to do this, bring it all into one jurisdiction and then allow them to assign an address. They've gone through the process of petitioning annexation. In order to annex a piece of property, as we've talked about in the past, the annexation has to be reasonably compact. The portion of the property that is going to be annexed has to have a significant portion of its boundary in contact with the town's boundary. And so this property is contiguous on its eastern and southern side, and you can't create any enclaves of unincorporated county surrounding it. This, of course, does not do that, as you can see from these maps. So recommending approval of this annexation. Normally we go through you'd also be going through comp plan amendment and rezoning, given the small nature of this. We'll clean that up next time we do when we do the evaluation appraisal report. So the balance of this property already has A1 zoning. This little sliver has county A1 zoning. This issue just really has to do with the split jurisdiction and trying to get the address out of 911. So just recommending that you guys go ahead and annex this in. This is first reading. Prior to second reading, there's requirements related to how we notice and advertise. It requires ads each week for 2 weeks prior. In addition to that, before we do that advertisement, there has to be notification to the county that all be done prior to second reading. We are trying to move this along so that they can go ahead and build on this piece of property.
And at this point, for this ordinance, the first reading that's been presented, just for clarification, all the advertisements for the first reading, that's all been done.
First reading doesn't require
advertisement.
It's adoption.
Okay.
Annexations have special and unique advertisement and notice requirements to themselves. Right? There's a normal advertisement for ordinances. There's different advertisements for the way you do zonings and comp plan amendments, and there's specific requirements for notification of annexation. And so I review that's that advertisement that's done for 2 weeks 2 weeks prior, you have to advertise it once each week, and you do have to put the county on notice of the annexation as well.
Well, I thank you for all the work that you've done on this, and I know just one vote, but as mayor, I would support this, and I would hope that the board would support this to help in this dilemma that they're in. And so,
Is this actually a parcel?
It's already one parcel, but a portion of it is in the county and a portion of it's in the city. The portion of it's been in the city has been in the city for a very long time. At some point, there was a transfer between the property that's out in the county and the portion that's in the city in order to get access. But when you go through and very often you're supposed to get jurisdictional approval before you make these kind of transfers. But this got caught at 911 address, and like I said, that because it has to do with 911 when there's building that occurs, there needs to be addressed even when it's not yet occupied. They want to be able to properly dispatch. This is sort of a really technical hitch because it's basically the access. Like I said, there's probably other ways to skin this cat in terms of.
Does the owner of this parcel own the parcel west of that parcel or,
No.
or south of it?
He owns the person south. This person.
He owns the property south of it. So that's part of his parcel.
The county actually considers them all one parcel now, but the problem is that little sliver there
Right.
was never annexed into the town. So even though it's all one parcel, half of 5 acres of it is town. That little sliver is county. So it's technically not touching Western until we
parcel.
annex.
Then. It's just one of those situations
Right. It just didn't get done.
911 wants each parcel to be in one jurisdiction. I mean, I don't,
Right.
we can talk about this. I mean, I know where there's parcels that are in separate counties and it all works out, but
Mm-hmm.
the easiest thing to do is just
do what you're proposing.
Yeah.
I have a question. Isn't there an easement on that piece of property for a right of way? Where, I mean, you can see in the picture where the road goes around. It goes on down about halfway. Will that easement still be there? Or will
Yeah, I
they
mean, this
block
isn't gonna
that
affect
road?
any easements, it's just the parcel itself has to have legal access. I don't know, I mean, this property that is currently in the county, I mean, it's in the city, is legally landlocked. It's probably not, it's probably accessed through the south, and it's probably, well, it's, you can see it's wooded, but there is at the very south end, I think there was, you can see it in this aerial, it's really hard to see if you apply a screen over it. There's actually, at one time, there was a mobile home over it on it. And it, like I said, it probably was accessed through the south,
Yes, it was.
but there's no legal access.
Right. And then my other question was, I guess I wasn't aware that Western goes all the way through that pasture. That's all Western Avenue.
This is sort of a western
So I guess my
extension, it's
question-
how it's addressed. This portion of western is not, it's privately maintained, right? There's.
Well, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
Is that maintained, is that part of the town, or?
No, that portion, no, it's privately maintained, so this is not gonna require you guys to maintain it. But it does give it form of access. What has to happen for a parcel to be created, it has to have access to a public road or a legally recognized
Right.
private
Right.
access. So
I know that
one
all
of the
the
ways that it's
landowners
legally recognized is that it's the permitted access before, and you can see that extension does at least have two structures.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it all gets cleaned up, like it's.
Those are my only questions.
Yeah.
Any other questions? At this time, I'm going to ask our legal counsel, Christian Walke, would read the ordinance number 2024-17.
An ordinance of the town of Pierson, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real property owned by Amy and Jameson Thomas, identified as parcel ID 5811-00000060, and located south of the terminus of Western Avenue as it extends eastward to Judy Lake, and located contiguous to the town of Pierson in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling law. Redefining the boundaries of the town of Pierson to include said property, providing findings, providing for conditions, providing direction to the town clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of the circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Volusia County, and with the Department of State, providing a legal description and a map, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective date.
And let the record show that our legal counsel has read the ordinance number 2024-17. Being if there are no more comments or questions, the mayor would entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve ordinance 2024-17.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson to approve ordinance 2024-17. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sergia Cardenas, and let the record show this is the first reading. At this time, Yvonne, would you give a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Brady Peterson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sergio Cardenas.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Yes.
Mayor Samuel Bennett.
Yes. So carried. Thank you, everyone. And is Amy and Jameson Thomas, are they here this evening? Yes. I'm glad that we could help, and this is the first part of the process, and then we're going to be having a second reading. So, and thank you, Mark, and thank y'all for being in attendance. Okay, item number 5D, permit fee waiver for Hurricane Milton repairs, discussion, and action. I'm going to let me give you just a little backdrop on this. The deputy clerk had contacted me. We had talked about he had gotten some email communications from the county that was sharing with the town of Pierson, cities that were doing this, and I think in the county. And so since Ryan has researched this, I'm going to turn the floor over to Ryan, and if you could share with everyone here this evening in regards to item number 5D.
Okay, so the county, Volusia County reached out to us and basically said on a county level, they're going to be waiving any permit fees related to Hurricane Milton damage, so a re-roof, stuff like that. And they basically wanted to know what all of the different municipalities within the county were doing. So most of them, if you look at the second page of your email in your packet, almost all of them, when I printed this email, we're still going to have to take it back to their council. Some cities are being very lenient. They're waiving all permit fees regardless of what it is. Some cities are requiring very stringent things, like they want pictures of the damage. They want a waiver, an affidavit signed stating that, yes, this was hurricane damage. This isn't fraudulent. So it really just depends. It kind of ranges. I think what most of the towns, though, are thinking they're going to do is just pick a set amount of time and say, if you have hurricane-related damage from Milton through this date, we're going to waive any permit fees related to, fixing that damage.
Repairs.
But that is up to the council, and the county is basically just wanting that answer from everybody just so that they can keep track of how all the municipalities are handling.
Thank you, Ryan, for that report. As at this time, does anyone have any questions for Ryan that maybe something that?
I wouldn't want to, waive permits for anything. I would want it definitely pertaining to storm damage.
Well, I don't think, it's not a waiving of permits, it's a waiving of the fees.
Just fees.
correct?
The fees.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Fees, yes.
right.
Yeah, you still have to get a permit.
Right.
I don't think a photograph would be too much to ask for either. You know, in
Yeah.
regards, yeah, just something to document it,
Absolutely.
right? But I think that would be something that we should probably do.
Yes, and it would, the hardship is the Hurricane Milton where people have had their roofs damaged or their home or whatever it might be. So this is something that we could do as a governing body, but that's why I had asked that we put it down as an agenda item. So,
And I know that the contractors are probably gonna be horribly busy, and we all know how obtaining employees is. I'm thinking maybe 90 days should be suffice for you to come up with a game plan and be able to prove you need a roof or prove you need.
Christian, do you have any follow this?
I think it really is your discretion. I think I have no legal objections to 90 days, 60 days, what you think is appropriate. It'd be a simple matter of adapting a resolution, I think, that's already been done, if you so choose. Okay, that's it.
So like, just to give you an example, Palm Beach is waiving them through February 28th, 2025. Lake Helen is waiving them through April 30th, but Lake Helen also requires the pictures and the hurricane damage affidavit stating that, it was damaged in the hurricane. So it looks like most people are doing it into early next year.
I guess just because everybody's gonna be busy, all the contractors are gonna be busy, you probably need more time, give them more time.
Well, sometimes permitting does move slow because you have to find a contractor, you've got to find time to evaluate, price material.
Well, Daytona started from September 2024 until February, so if we start, if we mock what Lake Helen is doing, they started October 10th, and they're going till April.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would we go back to September?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Well, I guess
guess-
maybe the first storm, I don't know.
yes, maybe the first.
The one before Milton, I don't know.
Probably Helene, they probably
Right.
covered.
But
I don't think.
let
we
me
had any
ask
damage.
this, I mean, y'all normally outsource your permit review.
Universal.
correct?
Yes.
I mean, is Pierson still gonna be charged for?
Right.
Well, that's a good question because we had a scenario last week where some people were trying to get their power turned back on. And because the customer pole that the meters were mounted to was damaged, Duke would not fix that. And they would not turn the power back on until an inspection was done and the pole was reset properly. On a couple of those, Universal actually waived those for us because they said, I don't see why we would charge for, it's like a technicality, right? Sometimes the pole didn't even get damaged. Duke just wouldn't restore the power until someone said, yes, this is okay. But I don't know that they would do that.
I was gonna say, and I
with
think
all of them.
that's, I mean, maybe they would for storm related, I have no idea. But I imagine a lot of these cities doing it have someone on staff,
In-house.
so they're not
In-house,
going
right.
to eat.
Well, and Universal's not going to eat because not only do you have to do the permit, but you have to do the inspection.
Right.
And those are fairly costly to us, so.
I'm just
Yeah,
pointing
I
out,
see that.
I think you have to, as a town, to consider, the extent to which you'll use your taxpayer money to subsidize that. I mean, I'm not saying it's unreasonable, I'm just saying it's a factor because you are gonna be paying for the review.
But I will just point out to Christian that permit-wise, we maybe get 8 permits a month, and what percentage of those would be hurricane damage?
Well, that's what I'm saying,
So I don't know that you'd be losing a ton of money in
and
that instance.
that's why I wonder if they might be willing to work with the
To work
town
with the
on this
town,
one.
right.
If it's not that many, if it's one, if it's two, I don't know.
But that's where you definitely probably want to request documentation when they submit the permit,
sure.
so that you have the proof that it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So we could, if the board decides, we could approve this with the stipulations, pictures, documentation, and put a time frame, as Lenny suggested. And then also, if you'd like, I would be happy to talk with Universal, and, maybe they might cut us so, they could meet us kind of halfway on this and say, okay, since the town is trying to help these folks that have been affected by the hurricane, maybe they would be able to give us a reduction in the permit fee or inspection fee, because
I'd go ahead and ask them for no charge.
yeah, we could ask them.
Yeah.
So we can ask them, and then
So how long is a permit good for?
Typically good for 6 months.
6 months.
As long as they call for inspections every 90 days. If they don't call for an inspection the whole 6 months, they have to renew the permit.
So that's why I'm thinking we need to put a limit on the time.
There definitely
Right.
should be a limit on the
Yeah.
time. The only question is when.
I'm all for helping, helping people with cost of anything regarding to hurricane damage.
Because in 6 months, if somebody goes, oh, well, my roof got damaged in the storm, right? And it's like, okay, well, yeah, there's a tree on your roof, but was this legitimately an occurrence from, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
People
that's
can-
why we need a date. That's why we need a.
But if a
time
permit's good
frame.
for 6 months, and we, approve this process for 120 days, see what I'm saying? That should be more than suffice if that permit's good for 6 months.
Well,
Right.
that's what they have here, 6 months from October to April, it's 6 months.
it's like Ryan said, it's not a lot, but it's going to be permits for people. We're talking about hurricane hardship,
Yeah.
right? Where
Right.
the people have been, a lot of folks are struggling, even before the hurricane. So,
I would say that the time is probably not as important. I mean, we obviously need to set a deadline, but because if you are going to require documentation, either they've got proof that it happened during the hurricane or they don't. You know what I mean? My suggestion, just me and Yvonne were just talking about it, you've got Thanksgiving. Right, so you've got Thanksgiving holidays in November, and you've got Christmas in December. So if you're trying to hire a contractor, how many weeks are they realistically working between now and the end of the year? So I would think you may want to give them, like they had in here, either till the end of February or the end of March to get their permit application in, something like that. That gives them a little time in the new year to find somebody.
Because they're also filing this with their insurance company, and I'm sure
Right,
they're
that takes-
slammed as well,
that
and
takes
that's gonna
time,
take
too.
an additional time. That's right, it's whispered too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I think we
Yeah.
should do that, because that's so true. The closer you get to Christmas, you just don't get things done.
Things shut down.
They shut down. They do. So, well, we've had a good discussion. If there's, just for time, efficiency of time, the mayor would entertain a motion to move forward with what your time frame would be. And if you would include in your motion that the mayor could contact Universal and try to negotiate possibly them giving us a reduction or something. Ryan, the mayor and Ryan, and because Ryan has done a good job on what he has just brought forth this evening. So, and then we could, we have to bring this back. It's on there for action, discussion and action.
I think you can take the action. I think you can take the action. Well, no, it's gonna be a resolution.
I was gonna say, can it be in the form of like, to say, come back with a resolution at the
Yeah,
next meeting?
yeah.
Because you could always backdate, you could go retroactively if
That's
someone
correct, yeah,
requested.
that's true.
So let me suggest that tonight, we approve the, preparing a resolution, and that be brought back to the council for our consideration. And then the resolution will outline, if there isn't something in there from Universal, it will be in the resolution. Everything will be defined. So it'll be the whatever we are able to negotiate with Universal, there'll be the time frame and
The conditions.
and the conditions. So
I think that's a good idea.
so the mayor.
I like Lake Helen's wordage on some of theirs, if you read. I mean, it says permit fees will be waived for permits submitted related to Hurricane Milton damage as of October 10th through April 30th. You will need to provide, which I don't know what a notarized hurricane damage verification, where do you get it?
Probably something
They
that was
create their
drafted
own.
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
sent forward.
So we don't have that, but it says proof of damage using photos.
And remember to entertain a motion to bring back a resolution at our next regular meeting for consideration.
So moved.
A motion on the floor by Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland for a resolution to be prepared to be executed at our next regular meeting. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. Ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So carried. Okay. Item number 5E, FEMA reimbursement, discussion and action. Council member Brandy Pierson.
I put this on here just so we could talk about hurricane, and I was just asking Mark, he wasn't aware, Christian, maybe you're aware, is FEMA open the portal? I know once the portal's open for municipalities, Ryan has to go on and register.
Don't know the answer.
I haven't seen anything yet, so as soon as that gets open, me and Ryan have been working, we've kept track of all the costs. So we can get some of this money back.
As soon as it opens up, we need to be there to
And
apply.
that's the only reason why I put that on there.
It says it's available, so.
So it is open, so. I know for residents and stuff, I just didn't, it's different for municipalities and cities, but
I'll double check, but I think we'll look into it.
yeah, I know it wasn't yesterday, so. But once that does, Ryan's on it about registering and getting all of that done for FEMA. That's all I have.
Yes.
I have one thing to say to everyone here and the council. That every time I look up, I think somebody's wanting to talk.
Yeah, with that hand.
Well, you He has it.
I just thought I'd lighten it up a little bit.
Days.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, somebody's asking you
I think
questions.
he needs something to eat.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, item number 5F, school emergency shelter, discussion and action. Council member Lenny Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, the recent hurricane we had, Volusia County was under a mandated evacuation for anyone living in mobile home or a low-lying area. So, the high school, which has historically been used for a shelter, was not provided to our residents. And I found out that the school board is the one that dictates whether or not a facility is indeed open to the public. And I was absolutely repulsed. Not only does the Pierson proper residents come to us for help, Northwest Volusia, Astor, think of the mobile homes in Emporia. and my phone blew up, I don't know how many times. Why isn't it open this time? So I think that's something we need to address with the school board, is why was it not
It has been in the past.
at capacity?
Yeah.
I got the answer that there was not enough staff to be there at the center and take care of, cots and stuff like that, so that they need enough staff in order for them to open it. I don't know if it's teachers that work at the school or residents, volunteers. I'm not really sure how that works. But I did speak to one of the teachers, and they said that the cafeteria here was used as as a shelter when the school was open. So maybe, I don't know, we can consider that.
You can't put many people in that
No.
cafeteria like you can in that
Yeah.
auditorium or the gym, whatever they used over there. No, I mean, that's insane. There were hundreds of people there.
I mean, what really, I guess my thing with what would be changed in the manpower over the years, I mean, maybe they don't have as many volunteers or they don't staff as many people to do that kind of thing. But I would still think they would have to have the same manpower if they had the same amount of shelters in different schools. So why can't they have the manpower up here if they can have it in Dean?
And I wouldn't think it would just be volunteers. They bring nurses.
Yeah, that is
So
staff.
it's just the staff.
Yeah. So that's a county thing, I would assume.
If we did a public record request to determine the amount of money our property taxes pays just for the school board alone, from Barberville to the county line,
To the river.
to
40 and 11.
40 and 11, it would be an astronomical amount. And for them to not provide the citizens of Northwest Volusia, I just find is absolutely unexcusable.
I know they've used that school in the past as a shelter.
Yes,
Every time.
And I
every
heard
time.
I was in a conversation regarding this situation, and it came up that they only chose shelters that the generator could run everything, the whole school, and ours generator does not run the whole school. Now, I don't know, I can't even remember who I had the conversation with, but someone told me that.
It
and
was
I don't know.
sufficed before, but
Yeah, it was
now all
fine
of a sudden
before.
it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's staff. I think it's the shortage of staff. And
Well, I mean, that's obviously a problem at the schools too.
yeah,
It's everywhere.
well, I agree with Lenny though. We need to.
I mean, you had to be here by a certain time, and they loaded you up in a
Bus.
bus
And
to
so you could-
transport you to another shelter. I mean, if they're going through that much and there's that much of a need, then
I don't know, maybe we could ask Christian to reach out, maybe.
Just been listening. I would like for either Ryan to reach out or your mayor to reach out or any of the council members, because, and let me share with you where I'm coming from. There are times we do need to have our legal counsel as an attorney reach out. But I think in this situation, we need to try to work with the school board and try to improve on what we have, because the history with the school board, they have come forward. I remember in 2004 when this whole area was devastated. There's no comparison to what we had to 2004. They did open that as a shelter. They did take care of the people here in Pierson. And that's just one thing. The school board they have done, this building that we're sitting and enjoying here tonight is compliments to the Volusia County School Board that we're enjoying here. So I don't want to alienate the school board in let's first, if we can, Ryan, myself, or any of the board members, if would
Well,
like to.
yes, let's have staff write them a letter and we can all,
Yeah, let's try
sign
that
it or
approach
whatever,
first,
yeah.
and then if we need an attorney, because I think that would go over a little bit. I think that might possibly be a better way to, because we need to work together, and they have been, they have been a good friend and a good partner for the town of Pierson. So, and I want to continue that interlocal agreement and working with the school board, because they are, like I said, this whole campus, we had it back, this was when Wade was the attorney, Wade Bose. Wade and I met with the school board, negotiated a deal for this whole campus for less than $77,000. We had to get it appraised for insurance purposes, and it appraised at $4.5 million. So that's a benefit to the taxpayers of the town of Pierson. And again, that's an extension of the Volusia County School Board. So I think we need to be very, let's work through them. And I understand, but they did. The fact is, I was up here when the buses were here, and I came up here a couple different times, and they just, they didn't have anybody
Nobody
that.
wants to leave.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave. Nobody wants to leave 30 miles or 30 minutes out of their home. We want to be here so that way we can keep an eye at our
Yes.
keep an eye on our pets or cats or cars.
And I mean,
I
it
understand.
really, the school board gets that decision, but this goes back to EOC. Emergency, isn't that who opens shelters? The school board isn't
Well,
opening the shelters.
it's a cooperative effort with EOC and the school board. They all everybody's working together, in a state of emergency.
Oh, yeah.
We were in a state of emergency. This board declared a state of emergency. Our governor declared a state of emergency. So but my point is, if they did make a mistake, they made a misstep, let's reach out to them. Let's try to make it better for next time. Like Sergey says, that people don't want to leave their home, but let's not, let's reach out to them first before we ask our legal counsel. I think that would be a kinder, gentler way to maybe approach this.
Would the contact be Joe Haynes maybe?
I think that, yes, Denise.
I would suggest you call Yolanda Buckles with the Emergency Management Services, and she can tell you who chooses the staff for the shelters.
What's her name?
Yolanda Buckles. I know.
Yolanda?
I know her.
Yolanda Buckles, legal and emergency services.
That's what I'm saying, the school board just gets to pick the schools.
Right, the first question I would ask is who staffs it? And when I worked at the county back in the 90s, the county employees staffed it because I was one of them. Now, it may have changed, I don't know, but every employee in the county has an emergency function assigned to them. I cannot imagine the school board is staffing those shelters. And so, not having enough staff is not an excuse.
Thank you, Denise, for sharing that. Mr. Laternde? Or I'm sorry, Deputy.
Just to put this in historic perspective, there were 7 shelters countywide. That is not a lot of shelters. We're in the west side, there's one on the east side. The fairgrounds is the main one for the west side because it's special needs and it's all. So when you're looking at it, in the past, we've opened anywhere between 14 and 21. FEMA, EOC are all the ones who decide how many shelters they're going to open based on whatever parameters they have. And then from there, the school board chooses which facilities they know will best fit the needs that they have. Generators, things like that. Wind, storm, roof capacities, what they're rated, window capacities, what they're rated. The school board controls all that based on the information that they have when they build the schools. So, it has a relatively small amount of shelters open, comparatively speaking, to the ones in the past. I work for shelters myself. It is county employees along with health board, health department, and school board employees. There's a whole shelter. I can only tell you that apparently somebody didn't feel that we needed to open that new shelter this time, because 7 is very low number compared to
So FEMA and the EOC are the ones that decide, correct?
You know, there's a big room and everybody's sitting in it, and they think this is, when the governor declares the emergency, the first day they activate EOC, everybody gets in the room together and they decide how many they're gonna open based on the parameters they're presented. Those things obviously changed, but I believe originally it was only gonna be 4, with 2 on the east side and 1 on the west side in the special needs shelter, the Paramount, the animals. They changed it to 7 based on the ever evolving information.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Denise?
I want to add to that. That is true, they all get into the EOC and make decisions and stuff, but when I found out that Taylor wasn't gonna be open, I called Yolanda Beckles and asked her why it wasn't, and she told me the school board chooses which shelters they open.
Well, and again, with all this is wonderful discussion. And so we're going to reach out to the school board and with people at EOC, and we'll try to maybe make it better so that we don't have a situation like this. Because like Sergio said, people want to stay here in their home, in their hometown. So,
and like he said, there was 4 on the east side, but none on the northeast side. They were all on the southeast.
Yes.
I'm just asking because 2 years ago, I did some training at EOC, and there was 2 placards there with town Pierson representative. I assume y'all are part of the EOC.
We are part of the EOC. I know Ryan and our new deputy clerk was in touch with EOC and had emails and communication, Anna Vaughn, and they worked with FEMA. In 2004, I actually was at the EOC Center as the emergency management director. I did not attend this year because it wasn't the same scenario. It came in, this coming in off of the Gulf compared to coming in from. It was a much, the time it got here. Yes, it was still, we had issues, but it was not as strong as the some of our past hurricanes. But I think that we need to. This is all good discussion, and we need to work to make this be a better situation for the people here in Pierson. So, yes.
I know it was not the staff, because both the principal and the vice president were ready to jump at any situation if they were chosen as a location. They had volunteer signups and everything, so I don't think it was a staff issue. I'm not mad at these from the teachers at the school.
And I echo that I think that the school would step in. So we just need to get to the bottom of how the ball got dropped and try to get it where we don't have this a situation like this when we have another state of emergency. Would you just please state your name for the record so we can get it in the minutes? Okay. Thank you.
163 Frederick Street.
Okay. And would you also state your name and address so we can get it in the minutes? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is there anything else on that before we move on?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Lenny. Okay. AT&T early termination fee discussion and action, Deputy Clerk Ryan Smith.
Okay, so this is kind of a convoluted one. Way back in the early 2000s, there was no high-speed internet in the town of Pierson. So for the town hall at the old bank building, or the bank building, for town hall to have high-speed internet, we had to purchase a dedicated commercial line, basically a T1. Those are wildly expensive, but I mean, at the time, that was really your only option And we had that for like 20 years. The way I understand it is we were having some internet issues in the summer of 2023, and AT&T was called out. And rather than just fixing the line that was there, had Yvonne sign a contract for a new line that then would not transfer here when we moved 7 months later, 6 months later. So now they want a $9,600 early termination fee, which is half of the remainder of the 3-year contract. So I have been in touch with our local AT&T sales rep. We sent them the emails that we had gone back and forth when we tried to get this moved to this building, which AT&T at first claimed they couldn't move the line here. I don't know why, which is why I think we ended up going with Spectrum. And I basically just told him, you know, we had sort of weird circumstances. We had to move out of the building. You couldn't transfer the service, et cetera, et cetera. He looked into it, but he wrote me back basically and said it would take an act of Congress to cancel or negotiate down an early termination fee with AT&T on something that's expensive, and basically told me they would not budge on it. I also reached out to one of the people in their financial services office who had originally called me about it, and she said that she would try to work with me on it, but then it wasn't one of their valid reasons for canceling or early terminating apparently was not met. So she eventually just told me in email she couldn't do anything for me on it. So part of the reason that it's here is because it's just going to keep accruing interest until we address it and we do something about it. So I don't know if we need to pay it. I don't know if we need to set up a payment plan for it, try to extend it over, you know, a year, several months. I don't know if we need to see if Christian can look over the contract and see if there's an out somewhere. So I brought it for your discussion.
Thank you, Ryan, for that report. I would like to suggest at this point that that the council take action tonight and approve our town legal counsel, Christian Waugh, and Ryan to work with AT&T and to try to get this resolved, because that's, I think this is something that our attorney could help us on, and because that's outrageous what they're wanting to propose, and I think maybe Christian, you can make it go away.
I will say that they also required the equipment to be returned, which I've done. So at least we don't have to pay for the equipment, but then I was surprised when I got this because I thought this was an equipment bill, and it ended up being the early termination fee for the remainder of the contract.
Did AT&T informed us that it couldn't be transferred to our new town hall?
That's what they told Yvonne
And
originally.
they couldn't even.
They
couldn't even supply us.
I called them when we decided to move to this building, and I have an email stream, and they kept setting up appointments and canceling the appointments, setting up appointments, canceling the appointments, and then finally I got a call from their general guy that does the appointments and says, oh, well, we're not out there. We can't do it.
Right down the road.
Ask anybody around town that
Now,
has AT&T.
I will tell you, like, a good example of that is DSL. So 15 years ago, Seville had no high-speed internet, and AT&T came through and said we can put DSL cards in all of these cabinets, and it'll serve X amount of people in the general vicinity of that cabinet. So like my mom and dad immediately signed up for it because they wanted some high-speed internet option. Mm-hmm. They were grandfathered in, they had it for years and years, and then they tried to make a change on their account, and AT&T said, well, we no longer support DSL out there. So if you cancel it, that's it, it's done forever. These dedicated lines are becoming, I mean, unless it's a huge building, but for a place like Pierson, I feel like this is becoming a thing of the past. So maybe we just can't have that here because there's not an established line here. I don't know. They didn't give us a reason for it. But I will tell you that for 20-something years, we paid $2,000 a month to have that line. It's a lot of money.
Good gracious sakes.
Versus the $104 that we now pay for Spectrum. And that's our internet and 2 phone lines. So Now, I will say AT&T, it wasn't just internet, it was also whoever set it up back in the day, Debbie Bass or whoever it was, there was multiple phone lines. There was a phone line for animal control, there was a phone line for the bank, there was a phone line for, it came with like 10 lines, and they just assigned them to random departments. But a bulk of it is the high-speed internet, because back then that was your only option.
Mhm.
So,
But now we're fully with Spectrum.
yeah.
So it might be just a sour grapes that we switched from AT&T to
I mean,
Spectrum.
They wouldn't
AT&T,
come out?
yeah, they had the opportunity. We asked to just transfer the service.
It would have been the easier thing, just transfer it to those buildings so that we just continue with what we have, but I could not get a definitive answer, and then finally, he said, oh no, we don't service there.
Well, I know when
I
we,
called Spectrum.
I
We
know,
needed internet and phones here, so I had no other choice.
I know what this board and the whole community, when we saw the capital investment that Spectrum has made in this whole area, it was quite extensive. Everybody knows they put in all this new fiber optic cable. And, we had been talking with AT&T, it was just, to try to get on the internet, it just did not work. So, we voted to go with Spectrum as a board, and it's just, again, they're just, it's ridiculous what they're wanting to charge. And so hopefully, I know Christian has been studying this, and I think that maybe, hopefully, there's something that can be done about it. So.
Can I ask maybe with a stupid question? What happens if you don't pay it?
It's not a stupid question. I mean, that's something I want to talk about with the clerks. I didn't want to bring it up in the meeting. It's not, I really think we should just talk about it outside of the meeting.
Okay. Well, we want to get it resolved, and I can respect your wishes to do that, because you want to get it resolved too in a fashion that would benefit the town. So I understand that. So I would, the mayor would entertain a motion to approve Christian and Ryan or deputy clerk, and also include the mayor in that, because sometimes, they can, the more people that are able to reach out, sometimes it makes a difference. So we need to move forward to try to get this resolved. So if someone would make a motion to that effect to have our legal counsel, your mayor and Ryan work on this, I think that would be a good thing.
So moved.
And we have a motion on the floor by our Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland to have our legal counsel, Christian Waugh, deputy clerk Ryan Smith, and also your mayor to work with AT&T to get this resolved. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. Ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So carried. Okay. Updates by your mayor.
You missed one.
You skipped one.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Item H, Unicode ordinance and LDR approves, discussion and action. Town Attorney Christian Waugh.
Well, I'm listed here. I'm not sure if I'm the best person to discuss it, but the town has gone ahead and hired Unicode to help modernize and make available your town code, as well as the LDRs. Ryan showed them to, I think, both me and Mark. They've upgraded this. I mean, for years, it was difficult to even see portions of your town code. Then we kind of got that done. And anyways, this is now going to make it available to everybody instantly. You've got a copy, hopefully, in front of you. And they've fixed, I think, several little typographic things. They've made things consistent with your numbering. Now, in order for us to move ahead, and I'll let Ryan, you talk about it or whatever. Normally, I don't know if this is their procedure or not, but every time I've had a city go through the Unicode process or change things with Unicode, you have to approve because it's different. It's just a little different. It's not going to be substantively wildly different, but in order to make this your official town code, it does have to be ratified by you. And it has my wholehearted endorsement. I think it's wonderful, and I think it came at a bargain. So that's all I have to say.
And this is also available online on our
It's
website?
not yet. So what they did is this is the proof copy. So they've converted all of our ordinances and land development, which I didn't print that because that's an even bigger book.
Right.
So if you want one, let me know and I can print one, but it will eventually, I have a digital copy of it. So what they want is they want us as a council or as even the staff, I guess, to review this, to make sure there's no glaring issues, to make sure that it looks good, because essentially what you do is if this version is correct, we'll pass an ordinance that says this is the most recent, true, correct version of our ordinances. And then as soon as they have confirmation that you've approved it, they will publish it. And then the way it works is going forward, if we have additions to it, if we have to do amendments, if we see something wrong that we have to correct, you know, they do that quarterly. So in other words, once it's published, every quarter we'll add new ordinances, new land development regulations. It's up to the council if you want to sit and compare it and read every line of it, or.
I was going to ask, we're not required to memorize this by our next meeting.
Well,
Yes, buddy, yes.
We'll have a quiz. That's why we want it online, so that we don't have to keyword search it and look it up.
But we will also have these copies handy too, you know,
Right.
which is great. Every time, you know, you see me scrambling on my
Right.
phone, it's because I'm trying to pull it up in my Dropbox, and this is going to be great.
This is way easier.
Yeah.
I've been reviewing the proof of the LDR. I have not found any errors.
I cheated and I did in Adobe, you can compare two documents. And so far, most of what I have found has just been, they changed the capitalization of stuff. They have streamlined, like, you know, sometimes on a list, you'd have a list and it would say number 1, number 2, and then the next page it would say A, B. And they, you know, it just looks kind of haphazard and messy. So they've gone through and standardized a bunch of that stuff. Sometimes we're referred to as the city in there, sometimes they're referred to as the town, so they changed all that to the town. It's little, you know.
Cleaned it up.
Yeah, they just cleaned it up. But I haven't found anything glaring that's missing, no big chunks of text that are different. But obviously, if we ever do come across something for any reason, we could always address it and fix it by ordinance or whatever, and then have it updated in the next quarter, so. So I just brought it so you'll have a copy of it. And obviously, if you want to read it and you find any glaring issues with it, you can let me know. But otherwise, how do we do that, Christian? Do we just,
They could
we
approve
just
it
need to
tonight.
draft an ordinance and do a first reading and?
To approve the Municode version? I don't think it even.
They're waiting for a response of any.
Yeah,
I asked other communities, you let them know any errors you have.
Right.
And then you bring an ordinance.
Right.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. So should we maybe, everyone's got their book, take it and look at it, bring it back at our next meeting in 2 weeks? Or do you want to vote on it tonight? Christian?
I don't care what y'all do. I mean, I think you could approve it for our purposes and defer to staff to get this to the finish line. In other words, what you'd be approving isn't what necessarily goes online. You're approving the proof, but I would ask that if you do take action, you delegate to staff to get it to the finish line with Municode, and then we'll present an ordinance to you once it's done.
Okay. Well, there you have it. We have a suggestion. It's a board decision, but it's a suggestion from our legal counsel to approve it this evening and to refer it to our staff to make any necessary changes to help facilitate this and also include Christian in that. And Mark, do you need to be a part of this too?
I'm reviewing the LDR. I have not looked at the code of ordinances at all. I did look at the LDRs. Format changes. You know, they've changed some of the way certain sections are cited. But I've not found any changes to the actual content.
Well, with that, and with our legal counsel, I would suggest to the board that we go ahead then and approve this for Unicode, this proof that's been presented to us tonight, and that the staff work on this, also our legal counsel and Mark Fred of Zeb Cohen, to make sure that, collectively to work together to make sure everything is, and of course the board has we each have a book, you can take it and look at it. And like Christian just mentioned a moment ago, if you caught it, he said we can approve this to go ahead and help facilitate this and get it going. So,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the Unicode ordinance proofs.
a motion on the floor by Councilman Richardson to approve the Unicode ordinances, and in your motion, do you want to include that this, he suggested?
Yes,
the
to direct staff
and
and our legal
including our
counsel, yes.
and Mark Fred of Zeb Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Sergio Cardenas. Ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? So carried. Okay, updates by mayor. We have got a lot cleaned up here in town. We've had several, we've of course had public works that's been working, and then we've had some other extra crews that have been working here and will continue to work. I talked with Caitlin Ruth, and they still are working to make some, doing some cleanup work. And of course, under the state of emergency that we declared, we can go under contract to have people continue to, if it's done by, that runs out tonight. However, if Caitlin is working on something that was previously agreed, then he would finish that. So we have some of those different things in the town of Pierson that are work in progress. And the update on our new beautiful library that's right here on our new town center. They are working on that. And for those of you that don't know, Volusia County approved a $450,000 expenditure, and we'll be having a new library at the media. It used to be called the Media Center here on this campus. But that's going to be the new library, and so that's in. I had talked with the county officials last week. Did they ever have you? Did they come by and get the codes for the paint?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I've got them, but they haven't asked for them yet.
Okay. So they're working on. I looked into it the other day. They put up drywall. They're wanting to work on more the painting, and so that's a work in progress. Also, just for public information, this board had approved before Hurricane Milton the installation of a new culvert on North Road. Of course, we had approved it, went out on bid, and we went and awarded the contract to the county of Volusia. Unfortunately, the storm came along, and the culvert that needed to be replaced, it gave way. So I contacted the people within the county, and they, or that morning before it collapsed, I had them go check, put a steel rod down and check that it was hollow, there was compromised. At that point, as your emergency management director, I closed the road off. It was still intact, but later that morning it collapsed. And so the county, I contacted them, and they came out and put a temporary fix on it. And they're going to be replacing it permanently. It's been approved, and so we're just waiting on the county to do that. So, again, we've had issues with the hurricane, but overall, I just reminisce and think back 20 years ago when we had that one in 2004. There's no comparison.
Three we had to do that.
Yes, the three of them back to back. Yeah, you just get your lights on and then here come another storm. So, yes, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay Hansen, Fort Harbor Road. Mr. Mayor, do you have a date as to when that will start repairing the culvert on North Road yet?
Mr. Mayor, if I might,
I did ask them, and, Lenny might have some information.
I talked with Louis Trivet, and he said, Lenny, I'm cautiously optimistic. He had given us a date of the end of October. And he said, despite all the disaster that has occurred, he is still cautiously optimistic about the end of the month.
Of course, Lenny and myself included, we told him we need it yesterday. But anyway, but I was very appreciative. This is another example of Volusia County, how that we have this interlocal agreement. We work together in the state of emergency. And they sent out crews and made the road passable so that people could use the road. And so it will be in good shape once the new culvert that was approved by this board prior to the hurricane, once that's installed. Okay. I think that's all I have at this time. I reserve the right to come back and report if there's something else that I've omitted. And I'm going to move next to updates of town progress from our town attorney.
Just one thing, I'm working on getting to the finish line a contract based on the RFP that you issued for operation and maintenance of the water facilities. It's almost done, and I'll have it reviewed by Mark and Ryan tomorrow. That's it.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, updates by our town planner, Mark Perret of Zeb Cohen.
Well, I was here October 17th. Did not have any individuals to meet with, but I handled some permit issues that were backlogged. Clerk's office. I'll be here November 7th to meet with people to talk about their land use and zoning issues between 9 and 11. Heard about Christian, what's going on with the water treatment plant. Hopefully, once we get that in place, we'll be able to get the plant online.
Yeah, we're anxiously awaiting that new water plant to come online. And for those new, if there's anybody new here that hasn't heard this, we were able to put in a brand new water plant. It's on the north end of town at Chipper-Jones Park, all new state of the art. And this, so now we won't be just dependent on one water plant. We've got a whole new water plant. And so we're waiting, everything's ready, but we're waiting on some, probably the testing and
We're going to get the vendor in place. I think they're already working on completing that test.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. As tradition, that finishes the agenda, but I go around the table and ask if there's something else that someone has to bring forth for our next meeting, another meeting. Christian?
I don't. I think this is your last meeting before the elections. I just want to wish everyone good luck. Have fun.
Okay. Thank you, Christian. Our Vice Mayor, Robert F. Greenland.
I'm just curious as to the upgrades on our water tower. All of the valves and everything has been fixed, correct?
That's correct.
And now, how about our vent and our mixing system? What's the status? It's all online. Everything's working.
Yeah, the vent has been installed and the mixer. It's all, everything's new. The mixer's been new mixer, the vent, new valves. It's all been freshly painted. So it's beautiful. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I just want, because I know Denise has had problems as other residents have. Hopefully this mixing system will alleviate the problems that we've had in the past with that and the vent.
Yes.
So I'm glad that's all operational now. And like I say, hopefully that will alleviate some problems.
And I'm glad that the vice mayor brought this up for everyone to hear, because we tried to improve on the existing elevated tank. So we put a mixer in the top of the tank that will keep it circulated. We also put what they call a super vent in the top of the tank, because in Florida, as you know, it really gets hot, and it's in that top of the tank, it gets really hot. So we have a super vent that will pull that hot air that's at the top of the tank, get that out. Chlorine breaks down when you have those hot temperatures. So from that improvement that this board approved, I think that's going to improve on the quality of water that we have. And then we've got, I think it's going to be a really nice system. Yes, Denise. All right.
It smells great. I have a question, and I don't know if it's now's the best time or later, but when the power was out from the storm, the generator did not kick on to the water tower. And I don't know that it affected the water, but cell tower, because isn't there a Verizon tower on the top of the water tower? Cell tower stuff. But because we live right beside it. We noticed on, I think it was Sunday or Monday, somebody brought a generator on a trailer. And then we noticed later after the power came back on, they took it away. Is it that generator there brand new or fairly?
Well, again, all of that, Denise, that you're talking about, that is the company that we lease, where they have the ability to have the communication antennas and things on. That's what that generator is for.
So it's not for water?
Has nothing to do with the water.
Oh, okay.
No.
Generators for the water system is at the well site.
We have new generator, brand new Generac diesel at our old water plant, and then we have also a portable generator that we purchased that we can move if it need be. So it's really nice. Yes. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Sergia Cardenas.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to inform the council and everybody that the Pierson Farmers Association will be starting the paving that they came in here to get approved. They told me that before the hurricane. I guess the hurricane stopped them, so now these next weeks, they'll be working on that. And also, I was contacted by a few residents on East Washington and on County Road 3 about cleaning out the ditches or the ducts because their property has been flooded due to all the water. I know we've had a lot of inches of rain, but they were concerned that it was one of the main issues was the cleaning out of the ditches, that maybe the vegetation there, the water wasn't flowing through, and their properties were getting flooded. And also, I've received an email from the TPO from FDOT informing us that they will be repaving from DeLeon Springs down to, I think it was Pierson. I'll have more information about that tomorrow that I go to the TPO meeting. But they will be repaving all those potholes, all the mess that they've done out there. I just wanted to let the residents know, and that'll start early of 2025. So that is.
Thank you for that, Sergia. And if you check your email, everybody might have communication from DOT on that, because I saw the email, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's going to be resurfacing and repaving.
I don't believe so, because I didn't used to get these TPO emails until I was on the board. So maybe you and I, since we were, part of the board.
Right.
So that's why I wanted.
So maybe we were the only ones that got it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that is true.
No, we got one of the clerk's officers because they wanted local input from DOT. Had a web meeting.
Right.
And Lenny and I sat in on it because they basically just want to let you know they're coming through your jurisdiction. They want to know if you've got any concerns, questions. I think the paving is going to come from DeLeon and through Barberville, and it's going to stop just south of the feed store. Fourth
Yes.
Avenue.
Yeah, Fourth, that's what
But
I'm.
like you said, it's still probably a little ways off, so. I think it is just resurfacing though.
Yes, resurfacing.
DOT will handle all of the flagging and all that stuff. But yeah, we don't get that from TPO, we got that direct from DOT, but that's probably why Sandy got it, because any correspondence that we get with him as the mayor, he just gets copied on, so.
Thank you for that, Sergeant. And then that reminded me of talking about DOT. For those of you in attendance here, we have on 17, Highway 17, there to help alleviate when you get the amount of water that we got from this Hurricane Milton. The years ago, before my time, they utilized a ditch that goes over private property, actually the Hagstrom property, and the ditch goes from 17 down Hagstrom Road to on the left, and then it goes back and eventually ends up, it's probably Shaw Lake. Shaw Lake. There was a culvert that was just was too much water. It was washed out. Ryan had, I think Ryan had contacted me, and we were, where do you move on this? I asked that you send an email to DOT and make a call. They came back, took after a few days, and we set up a meeting, and there was several of the board members, Brandy, Lenny, myself, the vice mayor. We were at that spot. Everybody had reviewed it, and so just to give you an update, they are, I actually talked to Charlie today, and he said, Mr. Mayor, we just want you to know we are working on it, and I just wanted to give you an update. We're working on it. And I said, well, I'm confident that I asked him the question because he said when I met with him that there was a gentleman there that had been there for 60 years. And I said, well, have you talked to him? Because he will be able to give a testament that this has been used as drainage for Highway 17. So he just wanted to, he called so that I could report to y'all that he is working on this, and I believe that they'll get it resolved and get it repaired. The culvert's washed out. There's a tree over at that, and it's a benefit to the to DOT that since it's a state highway for this drainage to work properly to drain the water. So, and of course you can look all over the county and other towns where it was just all this volume of water that was just too much, and there's places that have been washed out and they're still flooded. So anyway, I'm glad you brought that up. So that kind of maybe, that was another part of the report. Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
I have nothing.
Okay. Thank you, Lenny.
Stop the press. Stop the press.
I got fever.
Oh.
Something wrong?
Is she feeling well? Goodness. Yeah, we're all wondering. You're doing okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
A couple things, just to let everybody know. I know there was a bunch of issues on Facebook about this comfort station and Pierson didn't need it and everybody's mad because it's here. I'm gonna let you know why it's here. It's here because there's not any public property that Volusia County owns or anybody owns publicly over there to put these buildings at. So the county called us. One of our residents works for the county. Kendra Leverett, she was, or Heidi, she was in charge of getting all this set up and put over here. So it's not necessarily for the Pierson residents, it's for all Astor that is still completely flooded out. Last week I went over and helped at the old Astor Fire Department, And just to let you know, they gave out, I don't even know how much food and clothes and stuff like that. 75% of the people were from Pierson that went to receive it. So Astor did it the right reasons. People from Pierson maybe took advantage of it, but that being said, we need to help Astor because they're always willing to help us. Another thing is that VFW, which Pierson and Astor's VFW combined many years ago, it's an Astor. They have reached, one of the auxiliary ladies is in contact with the Asheville, North Carolina VFW. They're taking donations. They need clothes, winter clothes, blankets, anything warm. These people are sleeping in buildings, old, I mean, tents. It's really, really sad. So we are collecting donations here at the town. They're gonna, up until Friday, and then they're probably gonna do another run later, but this is for the first run. Food, any kind of stuff you wanna donate. So if you have extra stuff, please be meaningful and do that. The other thing maybe is for all of us. I'm not sure if y'all have been aware of the rodeo grounds. If you have not, you need to go by there. Kaylin fixed 2 big, huge holes in the rodeo ground. The water come off of Washington in that field and just flooded it. Yeah. The bleachers, we, Saddle Club roped them all off so nobody could get in there because all of the dirt and everything under the bleachers is gone. There's posts around the arena. I mean, Kaylin was gonna go put more dirt in there for Kathy and them, but it's a mess. So if you get a chance, go by there and look at that. But Kaylin is fixing and working with them.
It's a work in progress, and he has put dirt underneath the bleachers as you're talking.
Yeah. Okay, so he's done that in a day or two. I've been cutting magnolia.
Yes, so
He should probably be doing that for next month.
Yes, and there's things like that that's why I'm back. I said it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Some of this has been approved under the state of emergency.
Oh, yeah.
And under contract, it'll continue.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what I told him, that I would sign off on all of his hours because that had to be done before Saddle Club on Saturday. So he went in there one evening last week after the boys stopped working and fixed that. So.
Well,
other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Brandy, and adding to what Brandy said, before the hurricane, just for point of information, I just want to brag on the Public Works because the town of Pierson owns we are the owners of Chipper Jones, which includes the rodeo grounds. Prior to the rodeo, we could not do any mowing. It was just so wet. The ground was saturated. Just a few days before the rodeo, it dried out enough. God bless this community because a lot of people like the rodeo and the rain stopped. So it dried up enough so that Public Works could go in there and start mowing, and we got the whole area mowed, and the rodeo went, that's a tradition in here for 70-something years. It went on, and it was a success. But the ground was prior to that was saturated. So Public Works they were working to get all that done. They did. So then after that, then here comes the hurricane. So now we go back to trying to deal with the hurricane. And the reason I'm saying that, bringing this up, there was talking about social media. There was some comments, disparaging remarks made about the park there on Washington, and I'll have to say as mayor, they did not manicure and do things there on the park like prior, because we were dealing with all this stuff prior to get ready for the rodeo. Then we went into the hurricane. But for the record, and this board knows, we've sent off soil samples, checked the pH at the ball fields. Lime has been applied. We've tried to get rid of sand spurs. And but after when the hurricane came through, it went from trying to clean the roads, get them passable, and deal with all the things that were hurricane related. So now that that's over, we'll get back and try to manicure and keep things where they're pristine and good, but, you know, you can, when you're dealing with the Milton and what we dealt with, I think they did a pretty good job. So, anyway, I just wanted to state that because there was comments made on social media about we need to lime or different things, and we did. We have put lime. We have done things, and we have fertilized, and so we'll continue to do that. And I keep looking over there, and I see that hand up, and that's like, so that's pretty good. So anyway, I just wanted to report that. And so that's why I said earlier I reserve the right to come back and report. So I wanted to share that also. And I'm thankful, very thankful that we can kind of get things back to normal, and thankful that it did not compare to 2004 when, like our vice mayor said, we didn't have one, we had 3 back to back, and that was devastating. It took I took weeks to get the roads, weeks and weeks from the devastation. Pardon me?
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. So
get them all cleaned up, then some more go down.
So that finishes this report. And Ryan, do you have anything else?
Just real quick, the lead service line inventory that we talked about that was required by DEP, turned it in Monday, 2 days ahead of the deadline. So we did something ahead of the deadline. Public Works, I just want to say thanks to them because the 3 of them in a week and 2 days went out and surveyed 733 water. So they were able to pull it together really fast. So that's all taken care of. And then the only other thing I'll mention, Randy talked about donations for the hurricane. We've been doing it for 2 days, and Christine has taken 2 giant truckloads out of here, probably 30 giant black trash bags full of clothes.
Really?
Boxes. The response has been really good so far. So I just want to commend the community on that because they've really shown up for that.
When are they coming?
They're leaving this weekend to go to Ashland.
Yeah,
Friday's the last day for drop.
They'll be here Friday, they're picking up?
They're picking up every day.
Every
There's
day?
so much, they're picking it up every day.
Those people are gonna need some blankets, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And there's, if you look on our website, on Facebook, on the door out here, we did a little flyer and it has all the things that they're really in need of. So like you said, it's a lot of winter clothes, fire starters.
They specifically were screaming children's clothes.
Children's
From infant to high school that kids do not have clothes.
Right. But blankets would also be good for that, or like insulated sleeping bags and things of that nature. So.
Thank you, Ryan, for that report. That was another thing that I omitted when I gave my report that we were working on too. Not only trying to do to get the grounds ready for the rodeo, then the hurricane and the cleanup. This was something that was mandated by,
The health department, but it's actually an EPA rule for the whole state.
Yeah, so this mandate came that we had to go and check all the pipes that go into the meter box for lead, basically, so they can sign off that we don't have lead poisoning. Of course, we all knew, and I knew as mayor, we don't have lead poisoning here in the town of Pierson because relatively this is not an old water system. We have PVC pipe, we have epoxy pipe, we have copper. We don't have any metal pipe. However, the law states that you have to go and do this process, and if you don't, we're going to probably have a big fine. So thank you again for all your hard work to get that, to facilitate that. And again, Public Works was working on that too, which that was a big savings to the taxpayers because we didn't outsource it. Originally, we had one of our people that we contract with had reported to Ryan that, no, you don't need to do that. There's no time frame, and it wasn't necessarily the truth. But everybody stepped up, and it got done. And again, thank you, and thanks to everyone that worked on this. It was a great, great job. So, Vaughn, do you have anything you'd like to share?
One thing. Contacted by the high school today wanting to know if any council members would like to be in the homecoming parade. They will be sending an official letter over inviting you. I'm going to forward it to you, but just putting a bug in your ear that it's coming, and they're going to want to know if any of you want to be in the homecoming parade. That's it.
No, it's
Next
November.
Friday.
November the 1st.
It's
Next Friday.
It's in your fancy events section of your agenda.
Yeah. I see that.
And let me encourage all the board to come and be a part of the parade. It's the one thing that's nice this year. There was, from the beginning, it was on a Friday, and they did it when school was in session. The kids could be a part of it. It was a big celebration, and then they changed it to Saturday. Well, it wasn't a lot of participation because a lot of the kids weren't there. They were at home. So, and now they moved it back to Friday, which I think is a better fit. I think it's going to be a much nicer parade. So I hope to see everybody at the parade. And it's and the board again, as Yvonne announced, coming. I hope the board will come and be in the be on the float or a car, or let people see them. So okay. You have anything else? Nothing else? Okay. At this time for public participation and the good and welfare of the community, is there anyone that would like to speak at this time from the public? Yes, Denise.
I have a question that we talked about earlier about the deputy was saying that there are placards, there's spots for Pierson representatives at the EOC once a state of emergency has been declared. Do we not have somebody on the council that's assigned to the EOC for that? I mean, I don't know if you guys know, perhaps if someone had been there, we could.
She's on the phone and all the calls and all.
I was on the phone with the EOC for 24 hours straight, from my house and FaceTiming and talking to them, so
Okay, but
we were
that's-
aware of everything that was going on.
But that's not a person in the seat.
Just because I wasn't in the seat doesn't mean I was not involved. They were not giving me information. They were telling me what was going on. They were constantly calling me and asking me for information, if there were trees down, if there were houses damaged. They were constantly asking, so that's how we handled it. I don't go to the
She is our representative for EOC.
But don't you think it would be nice if somebody on the council was there?
Historically, I know.
I think I need to be here.
Yeah.
I don't need to be right there.
They realize the distance that we are from the facility, and they said, we don't need a body there for us to stay in contact with you.
Right.
And they allowed us to facilitate.
And Denise, if that storm would have come into Daytona Beach instead of over on the other coast of the Gulf Coast, then I probably would have been over there as mayor at the EOC Center. I was there in 2004 when we had those 3 hurricanes back to back. But like has been reported, there wasn't, it was a storm, yes. We had strong winds and rain, but it wasn't the magnitude that we felt necessary that we needed to be over at the EOC because we kept the communication as Yvonne just stated. So, but yes, we do utilize the EOC because, it's like the command center for the whole county. And so I've been over there several years, but this year was not really, it was just, there was a storm and we had flooding. The ground was already saturated. And so that's why, anyway. So.
Okay, one other thing, the park grant that we were gonna apply for, is there an update on that?
It's been applied for, but we won't know anything until July.
Thank you. Thank you. Good questions. Thank you, Denise. Any more? Yes, sir.
One.
Just state your name and your address.
Sorry, Philip Hughes, 221 Blackburn Road. I drive down County Road 3 every day. On my map here, it's saying Primitive Baptist Church, which I don't have any relatives in that. The cemetery there on County Road 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the grass really high. I didn't know who was in charge of mowing that, or if y'all knew.
What was that, Mary Kay?
Linda Hanson, baby.
The primitive.
That's this one that they just made historic, correct?
I know sometimes the county, to answer your question, sometimes Philip, the county will bring prisoners that are in that work program, and they'll mow and do things. And then
There's another gentleman.
and then there's people that have volunteered. Back years ago when Carl was here, he would volunteer. Anderson, he did a lot of mowing in all the cemeteries.
Way back, I'm going back to the Green Ward. I call it Green Ward, her family's in there. She had me clean some of the grave sites. So, hey, I'm driving by there, I think about her. I'm willing to volunteer all my way over there, mow it. Try to get a group. We're in the growing season, so probably want to be more times.
Well, you have our blessing. It's in the town of Pierson, and if you want to do that, I even, we need to put this on the agenda let's put this on the agenda item, but it's not an agenda item. And again, the law states that we need to have fairness to the public. You have an agenda, then we advertise it. So I'll put it on the agenda, Philip, and come back and we'll talk about it some more. I actually would favor even the town doing more to help with that cemetery, because it's Primitive Baptist Cemetery. The church is not active. There's nobody, there's no activities going on there. And I agree, it needs to be, it would be nice to, I don't think that would hurt the town even to.
Sammy, did not a couple years ago, they made that historic, didn't Dale do something with that grave?
Yeah.
To make that like a historic something?
Dale Barnhart and Clifford Hanson's daughter, Linda.
Linda.
I think were the two people that were really actively involved in that a couple of years ago.
Right.
And
I know.
They got together and I don't remember exactly who made it, but they were all into that, and then now it's been dropped, and I'm not feeling it probably needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, and I think Tammy Parrott's sons that lived across from the bank over there, they were who was mowing it on their own time with their own machines for a while to keep it down.
Let's put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Bring it
And
up.
let's revisit this, and because I don't want to be speaking out of, we shouldn't be discussing this anymore, but it's not an agenda item. But we're going to put it on the agenda for our next regular council meeting, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? If no one else, I want to take this opportunity as mayor to thank everyone for coming. This has been a good town meeting, and hope that we don't have a hurricane, any more hurricanes. Stay safe. God bless you. Being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
I mean, it's on there for anyone to take,
What's that?
they want you to read the event.